Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Wonderful, wonderful. Anybody here for the first time?
I'm not sure.
There we are. Hello. All right, so Dave is first time here this year. You all are first time here this year. There's my joke. All right, so again, for those of you that joined a little late, I apologize, but Maureen is out today, so that's why it didn't go as smoothly as when she usually takes care of it. Everybody will have, and if you're in the front rows, a reason for being in the front row, you would have it. Everybody has an agenda, the standard State of the Castle agenda that you are all accustomed to. And then today is also on your chairs the weekly update in regards to primarily the COVID update, which Lindsay will actually expand upon for us and help with the community, more so Noro than anything. And then also there's been some questions about the alderman, and obviously all of us know that the third district seat is currently open. So that is the additional information and some additional pages that I printed off from the Journal Sentinel, giving you an idea of all the candidates. There are 8 candidates running. February 18th will get narrowed down to 2, and then in the spring, 1 will be elected. So more information to come on this packet. Hang on to this one towards the end of the presentation. I will give you an update on the decisions and just kind of the thoughts behind the alderman conversation, since I know Lifestyle had a question or two about it on behalf of the campus, so I wanted to address that. If you don't have the packet, Evan is at the copier right now getting them, and then in between probably Eric and I'll just ask for a show of hands, and then you all can just raise your hand if you don't have a packet. So, sound good? All right, well, again, Happy New Year to you all. Hopefully I've seen all of you as we are 4 weeks in. So, unfortunately, the Packers are not in the playoffs, but Brewer season soon to be upon us without one of our legendary voices. But it'll be all right. Maybe the Brewers will win a World Series for him this year. What do you think about that? Good? All right. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get it started. We have a number of individuals, and then, of course, if you do have questions, feel free to raise your hand. If they are personal in nature, a work order that you're questioning, obviously just go ahead and see us right after this meeting. But again, want to get those questions answered. So, on behalf of your resident council, Lynn Woodard is going to provide the update. Lynn, take it away.
Take it away. Take it away. I always feel like I should perform. Jo isn't here. She's enjoying sunny Florida. And so she gave me a few comments that she wants to share from the council. I also realized I just had a delicious mozzarella pesto sandwich and I need to brush my teeth. Quick reminder, this came up at council. When you use a luggage rack from one of the lobbies, which many of us do, to get things up to your apartment, to bring things down, whatever, please return them as soon as possible. And they need to go to the main front entrance or the Bradford entrance, please. Not the one way over, by the alleyway there. If you're going to use it, that's great, but then, please bring it back to the front, the big entrances, okay? Because we've had them left in the halls and stuff, and then somebody needs one, and they have to go through the whole big building to find one. Council elections are coming soon. You will be hearing more about this. If you have been a resident on May 1st for 6 months or longer, you are eligible. So if you're curious about the council, it's the only resident elected committee / body in the building. If you're curious about what we do or what you would do if you ran for one of the positions, please talk to one of us. We'd be happy to kind of explain it for you. And then we will be having a progression of nominations and elections, and that's all coming in the future. But if you've lived here for 6 months as of May 1st, you could do it. I also want to hold up this East Castle Place newsletter. There are copies in the library. If they're all gone, please let the front desk know. Inside you might want to hang on to this. This is where you will see a list of all the kinds of activities that go on, the days that they are available, services. This is a really good resource, especially if you're relatively new, okay? So that's in the library. Also in the mailroom, you will see changing posters of, this is Thursday, so it lists some things that are happening on Thursday. So you've got several places you can go to check for what's happening, and then of course you can always go to Lila or Famata or Tyler and pester them. Any easy questions? Good, okay.
I like that. I'm going to say that after everyone. Any easy questions. The hard ones you're not taking up. All right. Next up is Lindsay. She's going to provide us an update on protocols, COVID, neuro, and then some of the update in the memo.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. I don't know when that will expire, being able to say that, but for right now, we'll still go with it. So, as we know, as you've seen in the memos, as well as perhaps if you've talked to your neighbors or grandkids, children, family members, friends, church congregations, in general, there is quite a bit of illnesses going around between COVID-19, neurovirus, and the flu in Milwaukee area, and really nationwide. My question specifically for this month, and then I'll expand on just the community in general, please clarify COVID protocol. Report it when the test is positive question, how many days in isolation, wear masks after. Also, if we are confined to our apartment, does East Castle offer any services? So I'll start with COVID. So yes, please always report it when you test positive. Absolutely. That doesn't mean please leave your apartment and come on down and find Teresa in her office or then stop by Lila. Please call the front desk or call Teresa directly, and please report that you are positive for COVID. And then how many days in isolation? So the current guideline is 5 days in isolation. Best practice with isolation after you are 5 days past your initial positive or start of symptoms, if you are no longer symptomatic and you are feeling well enough to be out in public, you may resume your normal daily activities. If you test negative and you still resume your normal day activities but have some symptoms, I would still recommend you wear a mask for the duration and remaining 5 days thereafter. Because again, even though what's considered your viral load, so how contagious you are, really is in that first 48 hours of when your symptoms start, it still can be contagious, perhaps, with coughing and sneezing and just those long-lasting symptoms that we know COVID can extend to. But specifically for isolation, 5 days. And then wearing masks after. Again, if you are symptomatic after your 5 days, please wear a mask. And then in terms of confinement in your apartment, if East Castle offers any services, when you make the call that you are positive, Teresa will alert the management team as well as the kitchen that we would be able to provide you with in-apartment services, as we do not want you coming down to pick up your lunch. We do not want you coming down to the communal breakfast area, coming down to make reservations for when you're well in 5 days. We would like for you to remain in your apartment. And Teresa and our hospitality team are able to bring you, Gatorade, your meals delivered, in order for you to feel comfortable and confined in that area. And if you need an extra light reading, I'm sure our activity staff would be happy to drop that off too. Any questions on COVID?
So what about the nurse? Like if you feel you're sick? You need something.
Sure. And I suppose
We didn't hear the question.
I apologize. The question was, how about the nurse if you feel you are sick? I think once you are been identified positive in that aspect, if you feel well enough in your apartment and you feel like you are able to manage your own symptoms in coordination with Teresa, we would probably pump the brakes on sending a nurse over. If you feel that you need that additional level of care, that would likely that would be out of our nurse's scope realistically, and I would recommend, and our nurse probably would at that rate, as well as probably your general practitioner in the community, that you go see an outside doctor. Because our nurses aren't able to start an IV for dehydration. They could offer or recommend that you take Tylenol, but that's really no different than what Teresa along those lines would offer as well, in addition to vitals. And not that our nurses aren't there to support you in that aspect, but we, in terms of what they are able to do when someone is infected with a viral infection, there really is, unfortunately, sometimes we have to let it ride in our apartment, or we need to seek further medical attention at a hospital or a clinic in that aspect.
But a nurse would help determine that.
Yes, a nurse could help determine that, absolutely. And you are always able to push your pendant if you feel that your condition has progressed, that you are no longer feeling comfortable or safe or well enough to be alone in your apartment. And that would be, in conjunction with Teresa and the nurse. Any further questions on COVID?
I was late to answer my question I had put in about COVID. That I think some of the people I talked with would like to have a report on the number of COVID cases each day. Put a sign up in the mail room if we're going through. I am particularly concerned because I have heart surgery coming up in March. However, if I get sick in February or January, it could carry over and prevent and I've waited almost a year for this. So it would be helpful to us. You don't have to say who. Just tell us how many cases are here in the independent living, just to keep us up to date.
Sure. So the general statement was having increased communication of exactly how many COVID positive cases are in the community at current time. So I don't know if a daily posting, because again, right now we're in a outbreak, so to speak, that right now we have 1 or 0 COVID cases at the community, which is fantastic. And I'd love to post that in the mailroom. But I think we can figure out a way and work with the communications committee and community life in order to feel as if you are all getting the necessary information, while also not sounding the alarm too much to think that, of walking the halls here, that you would get it immediately upon leaving your apartment. To that point, Tyler's memos, usually the weekly updates, have the most up-to-date information. In terms of providing specific numbers, again, as Teresa mentioned, that can vary day by day, as people's well time or positive times can go within a week. So we can work on that and come back next month with something a bit more specific in order to satisfy everyone and feel confident in the infection control.
It's very important to us to have a grip on what's going on as far as the diseases go.
Absolutely.
And some people that get sick deny they're sick. So we can't go by just gossip.
No, you cannot go by gossip in many things in life. And people do diminish that and so on. But rest assured, East Castle is probably the safest place you could be, rather than how you're venturing to doctor's offices or to Pick and Save or walking down to Sendik's or any restaurant or having family gatherings and so on, because you have increased cleaning here. I wish I could bring Eric and Ian's cleaning team to my house, to touch those surfaces and so on. So obviously we can only control what we're able to with hand washing and using hand sanitizers and wearing your masks. And I would recommend that if you have an upcoming procedure that you are concerned about, increasing your hand washing, hand sanitizer, and wearing your mask. That is your safest bet versus kind of waiting 1 week on and 1 week off, because ultimately, if someone's positive this week, and we have no one next week, your exposure could be from 2 weeks ago that could lead you to be positive. So it's very hard to determine that. So I would say the best thing you can do is take care of yourself by wearing that mask, hand washing, and hand sanitizer.
Lindsay, you said we have zero COVID in Independent. Do we have other dread diseases like RSV?
So I will get to that. So the question was, we have zero COVID in independent living. Do we have other infections or kind of communicable diseases going on right now? Right now we have one neurovirus in independent living. And then we have neurovirus that is also transferred over into Bradford Terrace now, between our 4th and 5th floor. And I don't know about you, but I know many people in the past 3 weeks outside of here as well that have had neurovirus. The hospitals are full between Freighter, Maine, as well as next door. They are kind of shipping people out or turning people away if it is that specific neurovirus, because there is such a high positivity rate on that. So in independent living, we have one individual who does have neurovirus. Neurovirus, again, is the GI, the throwing up, the lower GI, and your isolation period for you specifically is 48 hours from your last symptom without a symptom-reducing medication. So if I'm sick today, I would wait 48 hours and not take any Tylenol, not take any Imodium, not take any ibuprofen, and then I would be able to go out after that 48 hours. If I still need to take Tylenol because I'm having that fever, or I have a slight fever at that rate, a little bit of body ache, I then would count the next day to start my 48-hour period of being better. And one thing I want to note with neurovirus and the current CDC guidelines is it is recommended, if you live in a household with someone else, that you do wait 3 to 5 days and not that 48-hour period, because it's highly likely with how contagious it is that that partner, spouse would be infected within that 3 to 5 day period after the initial onset of symptoms of that first person who would be positive. Any questions on neuro? I do want to, yes?
Are you still notifying neighbors or people that have been in close contact with somebody who tests positive?
So the question was, are you still notifying neighbors or people who would be in close contact? The answer is yes, we are still contact tracing. And we also have to work with our local health department too, to make sure that we are doing our best protocol, obviously being community living, as well as that we have the right mitigation measures in place. But yes, if you are in close contact, you would receive that phone call specifically. And then some protocols that we are doing, and just reminders with neurovirus. Again, hand washing. And I know we have many hand sanitizer stations around the community or in common areas. With neurovirus, you need to use soap and water. And physically wash your hands is the best line of defense. Hand sanitizer helps, but it does not kill the neurovirus. So please wash your hands for 20 seconds or the ABCs with that friction movement for 20 plus seconds. And then just with, out of an abundance of caution, and with the outbreak that we have in our healthcare areas, and with that being a more vulnerable population, I would ask for the time being, if you don't need to be over there visiting perhaps loved ones or friends or families, we would ask you to wait before going over there in order for your own well-being, but also for our residents over there, as well as staff. So we do have masks and the masks in place for all of Bradford Terrace, so if you do stop over there, it is required. Dining room, or the dining area over there is shut down, as well as activities. So any questions that I can answer about COVID or neuro, or we do not have any RSV, so that's great, and no in-house COVID, so let's find the silver lining in this, but no? All right, well then I will pass it on to Anna with a sales and marketing update, and I hope you all stay well. If you have any questions specifically, I'll be here after, or you can always reach my extension.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good afternoon, everyone. Are we done talking about being sick? I've got some lighter things to share on some happier notes. First and foremost, thank you all for, at the very end of last year, we had a few very successful events. Our Friendsgiving was a great one. We had a number of guests join us for our Christmas at the Castle, and everyone had a marvelous time. So thank you for your efforts in that and opening up your homes for us, as always. It is that time where we wrapped up another quarter here at the community to draw our quarterly raffle for our Friends for Neighbors referral program. So a quick reminder about what that means. If you submit to us a name of a friend or somebody that you know of that's interested in learning more about East Castle Place, you're entered into this drawing. And then when they do move in, you would both get $2,000 off of one of your monthly service fees. So great financial incentive there to just give us a name, give it a shot. It doesn't hurt, but make sure to reach out to somebody in my department to share that name and contact information with us. So without further ado, after random drawing of the submissions from last quarter, Mr. David Hoffman is the winner of our quarterly drawing. Yeah, that's the reason to come to this. All right, on that note, as we head into 2025 here, as many of you know, we appreciate us calling on you if we need to show your apartment home. To help alleviate some of that, we are having a parade of homes next week, Wednesday, January 29th, from 2 to 4 p.m. So we'll be in this spot. So we appreciate as we bring in, we've got about 40 guests signed up to come and join us, and we're focusing on homes in this building this time around, so North Point Terrace. We'll do this again in March in Lake Terrace, and that'll be our final, so we've then highlighted all 3 of the beautiful buildings here on campus. In addition to that, we have another event next week. Actually, it's your event, but we're piggybacking. So on Tuesday, the 28th, there's a tailgate with Tim and Tanya. We've invited those that are on our wait list, as that list is growing as well, so they're going to come and join you for that cooking and drinking outing at 2:30 p.m., I believe, right here in Lindsay Hall. We have about 15 members of our wait list who are joining, so if you'd like an opportunity to come chat with them, we'd love to have you come. Last thing that I did have one question today, and that was about our photo directory. When will we get the new pages for the photo directory, not just on the app? So thank you to whoever submitted this question. It is a great one. Here in 2025, we're looking to go a little bit more green. So a part of that is, yes, we are absolutely focusing on and encouraging residents to utilize that app for your contact information and your bio. We know not everyone loves technology. Let's be honest, not everyone may love the app, but that is our primary mode to share that information with each other. It's got a lot of great features in terms of if you want to search for someone with similar hobbies, you can do that in the app. All that being said, Evan's team, in conjunction with Jennifer on my team back in November, I believe it was, hosted 3 different sessions for those of you that wanted to update your information or add your information onto the app. At any point in time, we did have some participation in that, but you are welcome to contact us so we can help you get that information in there. If you don't know how to do it yourself or if you just want to make a change. That's very simple. Please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll get that squared away for you. If you still would like a printed copy, we in that app have the ability to print directly from it now. So we are straying away, I know change can be hard, from that old version of the photo directory and can now print new pages for you directly from that app if you would like. So please contact us if that is something you are interested in doing. However, we will not be reprinting and doing that every time for people now, as we hope you can learn to utilize that information at your fingertips. And I will remind you that being in that directory is completely voluntary. So rest assured, folks are being asked to put information in there, Evan and his team have done a wonderful job in following up on that too, and we've made some headway. But at the end of the day, if a neighbor doesn't want a certain phone number in there or a bio in there, that would be their choice. I would, however, encourage you all, peer pressure can go a long way. So if you would like to encourage your neighbors, you see someone is not in there, give them a nudge, point them in our direction, and we would be more than happy to help have them get that information in the app. And questions, Mr. Fry?
My phone doesn't take apps. I have a flip phone, so I'm gonna need the printed version.
Absolutely. Stop on by and we can get that for you. Jean, right there with you too. Got you down. Yep.
Just a question on the tour.
Yes.
Does that last all day?
The Parade of Homes next Wednesday is only from 2 to 4 p.m.
Okay, and is there groups of people like going through the hallways and that type of thing?
They'll be guided by Heidi and Jennifer and myself. Yes, so hopefully no one's just roaming around the halls. But yes, we will guide them in 2 different groups, probably in that 2-hour time frame. And thanks to those of you we've already reached out and connected whose homes that we're showing, so hopefully we aren't disrupting too much.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for me? All right, thank you all for your time. I will pass it over to Evan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have a question, but before I get to that, I just want to give a few updates. So the first one is, if you checked emails today or went in the library, maybe you saw the February calendar. Anybody pick one up yet?
Yes.
Wonderful. Awesome. I'd like to thank the Lifestyle Committee for helping create that calendar. I know in the winter things get a little dull, but I think we try to spice it up. So thank you to all the committee members. A few things I'd like to highlight for February. Kathy Barnes, is she here? I think I saw her. She's having her Valentine's Day card making. Did anyone do that last year? Awesome. Please send an awesome card she made for your loved ones. Or send it to somebody else, who knows? A secret admirer, maybe. We're having a trip to the St. Kate's Hotel to see an artist in residence who happens to be the daughter of our own Dave and Lynn Woodard. I know Lynn snuck out, but Dave's over there. So we're going to go see her artwork. Chair volleyball. Any chair volleyball players? All right, we're heading out to Newcastle for our rematch. So we got to win this time. Last time we took the L. I'm expecting to that Mary's been coaching you guys up. So bring home the W. And then Valentine's Day pool party. We're gonna have a pool party. I know there was one a few years ago. Before I was here, before some of the Lake Terrace people were here, I'm sure. So we're going to have a pool party on Valentine's Day. Hope you all can make it to that. And then the last one I want to really highlight is Derek Mosley is coming back. If anyone saw his unconscious bias presentation, it was wonderful. He's going to do something for Black History Month. So we're really looking forward on him coming back. The next one is, I don't know how many people got my email about the text messaging update. But we're going to be able to text message, or like a group text, much like you'd get from the bank or you'd get from, I don't know, a healthcare provider on an update. So, if there's a last minute cancellation, if there's something emergent, if there's something, mechanically with the building, we can let you know that in real time. So we're going to be releasing that soon. I'm still working with Touchdown on getting those last minute details done. Once they are, we'll roll that out. So you will see, I'll send out an email when we send out a test message. If for some, you have to have your mobile number into the app. So if you do not get that test message and you see that email, please contact me and we'll get that all sorted out. To Mr. Fry's point, I know not everyone has cell phones, so we will continue to put notices in the memo book. Okay. My last update before I get into my question, how many people take our transportation services? Wonderful. So I just want to let everyone know that Hope Din Pierce, one of our drivers, is no longer with us. He's pursuing other options at this time. So you may see a little bit more of Leslie, maybe see a little bit more of Scott, maybe even me, or we might send you by Lyft, but we're going to actively recruit for that position, so hopefully we'll get that back as soon as possible for you guys. But our regular transportation will still go on as normal, just might be with some different people. And my question is, when is it going to be possible to return to the two free personal training sessions? I miss and need the motivation. So glad to hear you guys need the motivation, and thank you to whoever posted that comment, or question, I should say. At this time, we are not going to be extending 2 free personal training sessions. However, Willie and Alicia have some smaller group classes, so maybe 5, 4, 3 people that we're doing as more of a personal training type of deal. So talk to them. We'd love to get you signed up for one of those if you're looking for that extra motivation, more of that one-on-one type of motivation, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. So, yeah, Kathy.
Well, yeah, I had my exercise today, and I was, twice a week. And now Larry Kauf and I are partners.
Yep.
So we exercise together with Willie, and it really has been great. I think, Larry, it's worked out for both of us.
Good.
I mean, I think we can kind of push each other, and it's fun.
Do you push Larry, does Larry push you?
Actually, I push Larry.
There you go. Yeah, so Kathy, great example. I know there's a few other groups that are forming to do those sessions, so Kathy's benefiting from it. Absolutely. Find a partner, and Willie and Melicia would be more than happy to get you guys in the schedule. Any questions for me? Wonderful. Well, with that, I'll pass it over to Mike. Good questions, I should say.
Thank you, Evan. I just have a couple of things. First of all, for those of you who participated in our wine and cookbook sales over the holidays, we still have some left. Not a whole heck of a lot, but we do have some cookbooks. We have about a half a case of Chardonnay. We have about 2.5 cases of Cabernet Sauvignon. If you're interested in any of those, come see me in my office. Second of all, for those of you who participated in the Employee Appreciation Fund last year through monthly contributions, your contract is now null and void. You need a new contract every year. So if you want to participate in the Employee Appreciation Fund with monthly contributions, come see me. We can get you signed up. It's only January. There's 10 months that we accept monthly contributions, so we can still get you in there. I'm very pleased to say we've had a lot of success with it so far for the coming year. We've got about $9,000 in the fund for this coming year already, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's the most we've ever had at this time of year so far. So I'm grateful to all of you, and I think you should be proud of the work that's been done so far. I want to let you know that within the last month, we processed another car donation. To date, we've raised over $27,000 from car donations. If you have a car down in the basement and you can write, "Hi, I'm Dusty, who are you?" on the dust on your car, you might want to consider if you really need that, especially if you've been taking our rides places. If you donate your car to East Castle Place, you can actually dedicate the fund that those proceeds go to. And the car itself, the donation is tax deductible. So come and see me if any of that interests you. Last but not least, within the last 2 weeks or so, you should have gotten your tax letters from me. I get those out early in the year because there is the potential for mistakes on some of those letters. I've identified 2 mistakes already and corrected them. For those of you who aren't aware of it, if you've ever seen me in my office, I'm a 2-finger typist. While you were all learning typing in high school, I was learning Latin. So, they didn't teach us typing in Latin. One of the mistakes, I wrote 1,00, and the donor didn't know if I put an extra comma into a $100 donation or skipped a 0 in a $1,000 donation. We got that straightened out. A second mistake was I misspelled someone's first name, and I corrected that. I spelled it Robert, and lo and behold, they spell it Earl. So it's just a typo. I apologize for that. if anything like that happened to you. The other thing about these letters is that this year we did in fact have a lot of donor advised funds that came into the Employee Appreciation Fund. We had a lot of qualified charitable contributions that came into the Employee Appreciation Fund. I tried to stipulate with the appropriate language in all of your letters. If you have questions about the terminology that I use in your letters, please come and see me. And if any of those options appeal to you for future years for the Employee Appreciation Fund or a general contribution to East Castle, come and see me. I can walk you through that. The last item about those letters is that we have several households here at East Castle Place that have two last names. For multiple reasons, it's not as uncommon as you might think. If I have addressed the letter inappropriately because of two last names in your household, please come and see me. We have lots of time to get this corrected, and I'm happy to do so. I'm not infallible. Are there any questions for me? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Eric.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, I'll jump into my questions. First question submitted was, why does it take so long to replace an oven light? The only one that came up that I was aware of recently was one over in Lake Terrace. Frankly, that one just didn't have the light bulb to replace it. So in many instances, we keep parts for all the equipment here. In some instances, we don't have everything though. So in this case, we ordered it, they came in, and that's since been resolved. Why is it always uncomfortably cold in the dining room? This is going back, I think it came up last year. They rebuilt the locks and the weather stripping restraints on the windows in the dining room to make sure that the windows were closing and the weather stripping was engaging. Other than that, we just turned up the temperature in the room and it should be just fine. Like I say, if it were an issue, we can always turn the temperature up more. Obviously, the temperature changes greatly here in Wisconsin, considering last Friday we were running air conditioning on most of our chillers, and this Monday, Tuesday we're running our heaters at full blast. So it's going to change a lot. It's going to affect the windows because the windows are only glass. They're only going to do so much. Next question. When are our keys going to work after hours at the front entrance doors? I talked to Tyler about this. We have to look at getting a electronic key cylinder reinstalled at the 2505, the main entrance you're familiar with. We'll have a key cylinder put next to the door. Many of you on your keys, one of them is a Yale key that says B as in boy 1. That B1 key will get you in that entrance. So we're working with LaForce to get the lock reinstalled, then we'll have automatic entrances tied into the door operator. And that will work for it. It's the same key you use to get in the outside doors. So the intent is that that key gets you in the outside doors, your apartment key gets you in your home. Yes, David?
Is there a chance we, and I was told a couple of years ago that we could get key cards?
We've gone through that option. There's there used to be fobs years ago. That system's been since decommissioned. But there's some employee card stuff. We've talked about going that way. We just feel better about an actual physical key. It's easier to get a physical key back for us when we go back to using the front door key lock.
Sometimes it's a pain to come and push the button.
That's the sense. There'll be a key cylinder there, right below where the push the button, so that folks who live here have a key to access it anytime they want. Yep, day or night. Okay, last item is a kind of a departmental update. We've kind of finished moving some folks around, so I'll give you a more full update. So a couple months back, we moved around some of Ian and Leslie's responsibilities. Kind of the third leg to that change was we've given Michael Andreas, our maintenance technician, a small promotion to lead technician. So the concept of doing some of this rearrangement was to focus our employees on certain individual tasks. So Ian is focused in Bradford Terrace for a lot of the rapid response items that need an immediate response and the team to do so over there. Leslie's had laundry, she's taken on the independent housekeepers, and that's gone well. The last part of that was Michael. So the intent of Michael's promotion specifically is to expedite resident response. That's my entire focus to his promotion. So He will be watching the Works Hub board as the work orders come in, making sure that he, Jordan, Rusty, or Mark are the ones responding to those items, and that we close out those items. Those are my two focuses. Respond to it and close it out. Because some things are as simple as an oven light bulb. Other ones are quite a bit more complicated, and we have to either reach out to contractors, get support, and in those cases, some things take weeks. Some of those are fireplaces that I can't get a technician here for 6 weeks. So some things are just that way. So it helps us be able to have one technician be able to focus on that specific item. Any questions? Sandra, yes?
Can you tell me about maintenance at the swimming pool? Who's in charge of keeping the pools working, the hot tub, fixing the sink in the men's bathroom, which has been broken for 3 months? Taking the air conditioning off when you come.
Taking air conditioning?
You know, if you come in to the little hallway, the ladies' bathroom, from the pool, it sure feels like air conditioning. Because you're cold black, a red body, what else?
I think a lot of that stuff, Sandra, is the disappointment is I have seen no work orders for those ones. So, and that's where I go back. Some of those stuff, if you're putting the work orders in, it's going to help us. We collect a lot of data in a given week. Those who put the work orders in, it really, really helps us keep track of all the different things. And some instances of, I'm sorry?
We assume that Willie has put in the work order when he sees these things are happening.
Same thing like always. If you're seeing, I mean, if it's relative to the actual operation of the pool, yeah, Willie does do a good job of keeping in touch with us on those. If it's work orders for a sink or, you know, the feel of a temperature, put a work order in. And then make sure they get your name so we can follow up with you. If I see repeat work orders from the same person, I may need to talk to you to figure out why you still feel that way.
I think Lynn Wood had put one in for a railing in the ladies' room because of the wet floors and the possibility of.
Yeah, and see, something like that is not just a work, and it's the right thing to put a work order in, but that's what I talk about complex work orders. Putting a railing isn't replacing a light bulb, taking a stain out of a carpet. That's something we gotta look at. Well, why? What's the need? Are there other alternatives? What's the cost? Get a contractor? So there's layers to it, I guess, is the difficulty. But it's right to put work orders in. So a lot of those little things you're talking about, that's what it is. Other questions? Yes.
Question part 2 on
Sure.
your third thing. At times there's only one guard at night. Can you address that?
There's 2 guards every night unless someone calls off, in which case there will be 1 guard.
You don't have reserve guards.
No.
You fill in.
No. No, there's 3 guards. They all have schedules. There's 2 assigned every evening. If there's a call to someone ill, stay home. Don't bring that to this business. We don't want those illnesses we talked about. So when that stuff happens, you know, those instances do happen. Same with maintenance, housekeeping, all the rest of them. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, back to Tally.
All right, thank you, Eric. And just to follow up on a few items that came up from last time. Those residents in Lake Terrace, the lights were too bright. Have you noticed the lights turned down? They are dimmer because we installed dimmers, thanks to Eric and his team. Has anybody noticed the Bradford Terrace garage? It is brighter, which is what everybody wanted. So, to that regard, again, I know that there's a lot of things that are wanted and needed, and again, there's things that are associated with business needs and things of that nature. And I know we live in a need it yesterday type of world. Again, I'm similar way. So I guess all that to be said, I just want to really give credit to Eric and his team and the way in which they've been able to respond. Again, we've set up his department with Eric's leadership to really focus on in response to those questions and concerns that you brought up in your resident satisfaction survey, and that things are getting done. And again, I don't want to make light of that, but just want to make sure you know. And if there are outstanding items, again, I think Eric's shown, as well as a number of directors have shown, that we're here for you. We want to work with you. We want to do what's best for you. And again, just sometimes it takes a little time. Just like the TV channels. This is something that's been on my radar. How many channels do you all think you have? Question. Shout out a number. 131.
1,000.
1,000. Jim Fry is darn near close. You have over 800 channels. Again, that's a lot of those are repeats. A lot of those are in high definition and low definition. Central Time, Eastern Time. All that being said, I'm trying to come up with a solution that's going to not be a pamphlet of Spectrum news. Again, you do have that channel guide on your TV where you can scroll all the way down to basically $9.99, which is the music channel, by the way, because I scrolled it for 45 minutes. So I have all the channels in my penmanship that nobody can read. But I'm trying to make sense of it so that you get the information you actually need. Again, 1 is Spectrum News, 2 is ABC, but do you know 201 is also ABC? And do you know that 10-1 is PBS East Coast and 10-2 is PBS West Coast? Same show, different time, same time. It's a little confusing, so again, the Spectrum channel list, all that to be said, is on my desk, it's on my plate. I said I would get it to you. I guess I should have done a little bit more research before realizing I had to sit in front of a TV for 45 minutes and review all the channels. So, Spectrum does have a list. It is very, very small print. That's the other thing that I was trying to be cognizant of, because again, I could barely read it in the fine print that it was, and it's also in PDF, so I can't blow it up. But that gives us more of a basic type of outline. But I also know that Channel 13 and Channel 13.1 isn't on the Spectrum guide, and so again, I can give you a very general Spectrum guide. And then there's also the guide that's physically on your TV as you're scrolling through the channels. So, yes, Mrs. Cullen.
I get that Sunday TV guide, and I cut one out for that's going to do because it has I counted it like 900 channels or something.
Yeah.
Like that, so you could make copies of that and hand that out.
Yeah, if you have that, I would love to take a look at that. Because if it's a copy, I can sometimes enlarge it as well. Dave.
It's a first world problem, but we don't have the guide in our bedroom TV. We have a different remote for reasons unknown.
Huh. Let me stop up by you, because you should have the guide. It's the same Spectrum box. Everybody that has 2 boxes should have that guide.
They're different remotes.
So, yeah, I'll stop up by you, Dave, and see if we can figure that out.
No rush.
Paul?
I'm getting a not available on the guide when I go to it. It says not available every channel.
Is that consistent or intermittent?
Consistent in the last 3 days. I just
Okay.
assumed it was a system problem, nothing to do with my TV.
Mike?
I think if he reboots the box, disconnects the power, plugs it back in,
Alright.
I think that'll do it.
Okay.
Off on Tuesday.
All right. So, can't go a state of the castle without talking about Spectrum. Question about the arborvitae replacement around the large green transformer. I reminded KEI actually last week prior to this question coming in, so it's actually serendipitous that it did, so thank you for that. They were supposed to be replaced last fall. They didn't. It's tough right now to get in the ground and plant and hope they grow. So those are on the slate. Those are under warranty. So again, I reiterated that because I said you're not getting your final payment without that. So they should be replacing them or they'll be out some money. So those are scheduled to be replaced along with some of the landscaping enhancements that we'll be doing in the springtime when the weather warms up a little bit. Last item on your agenda, and then I have 2 more items, the Carolyn Newell Clinic and Guest Suite update. So, if any of you have seen my previous memo, the Carolyn Newell Clinic is up and running. It is fully operational, and Monday, the nurse practitioner came in into the old space to finish, and she will go into the new Carolyn Newell Clinic space in the Bradford Terrace area, first floor. That space is readily available. Teresa stocked it. She's put her touch on it, so that will be the new space. The guest suite is underway. They are making good progress. Tentatively, March, the first weekend of March is when it will be available for use. So, until then, if we can open it sooner, we will. But tentatively, that's where we're tracking after the first 4 days of contracting. Again, they're making progress, but there's a lot that's going into that. Tuesday, just for reference, will be allowed 2 hours. They have to core through to the basement in order to install a drain. So that'll be a little bit louder day. but appreciate your understanding and patience with that. Again, it did serve a need for allowing our guest suite to become an actual resident apartment. So now our assisted living does have 18 rooms, and we will have a guest suite here before we know it. 2 other items. One was asked of me actually at lunch, so I wanted to address it, and that's about the WOW cards. So how many of you are familiar with the WOW cards? And this is Jen McHugh, our Director of Human Resources. So she may help me out and shout some things out as I'm not making sense. But our staff are here to do great work for you, and I think they do that really, really well a lot of the time on a consistent basis. And that's what we expect. And again, we're not expecting them to move mountains or anything of that nature, but we expect them to greet you warmly by name and with a smile. That's our first hospitality promise. So, for instance, I will pick on Majarka's team. When a server comes and says, "Good afternoon, what would you like for lunch today?" with a smile, and then they bring you what you asked for lunch, that's good. That is great, and they're doing their job, and that's what's expected. However, if that same server goes and says, "Oh, I remember that Mrs. Moss really likes her coffee black. Mrs. Moss, I got you your cup of coffee, anticipated a need," and then you asked for something, completely different, and they just really accommodated you, or you brought a group of 5 that you forgot to make a reservation for, and Morgan was able to accommodate you. Again, I know that sometimes seems consistent. That may be a wild card worthy, something that you may want to write down and say, "Man, Morgan really took care of us. She really made an impression on our guests." Put that down on a wild card and submit that. Morgan will receive that feedback. We will provide that to her. We look through all those cards because there are times where it's like, "My housekeeper did a great job." Good. That's what we want. That's what you should expect. But now, again, if your housekeeper went above and beyond and really moved their schedules to accommodate your schedule or did something extra for you, we want to make sure they're recognized. Again, we're never not going to share with an employee that Mrs. Smith recognized you. Again, what we are going to do on the back end of that is we give out reward points, essentially, so that then they can shop on the online shopping mall that has over 6,000 different items within it, from gift cards to gadgets to vacations if they save up enough points. And that's what the employees are awarded. Again, let us take care of that piece. Again, we will make sure that the employees are recognized because that is something that we as a director team and management team are also focused on for our staff members. Our staff love recognition. We love to be recognized. We don't want that to stop. So don't think that they did a good job. I don't know if it's worthy. If you think it's worthy, go ahead and write that down, submit it. We will make sure it gets to the employee. Does that make sense? All right. Jen, did I miss anything?
No.
Okay. I really took that pre-conversation we had to heart. So, all right. The last item on the docket is the memo. Again, I'll point you to. And it's really about the 3rd District Alderman seat that is available, that's open, and it's up for election. And so in the memo, the question was, again, from a lifestyle and as well as just, usually I've been the one that has said, we are nonpartisan. We're not going to, allow for, officials to necessarily come and do campaigning and things of that nature. With the alderman, as a nonpartisan seat, and I definitely understand there's politics involved, I get that, but it is a nonpartisan seat. We had an alderman reach out to me and say, "Hey, I would like to come canvass East Castle Place, door to door." And I said, that's not comfortable for me. I don't think that's going to be comfortable for my residents. However, being that you are an alderman that directly impacts East Castle Place, because again, our low vision group has worked with the city, they have a lot of influence on decisions that are made specific to our area. It's not a bad thing for them to understand your wants, your opinions, your needs, your questions. And also, I don't think it's a bad idea for you to get to know them if you want. And so we are providing a venue for that. Again, the venue is the classroom. So again, a space that's not taken away from our normal activities. And it's not something that, again, as the memo says, we are endorsing. The first candidate that reached out to us was Alexander Kostel. Now, I've had email conversations with Alexander, that's it. I also know Alexander from the Journal Sentinel, which is what is attached. All 8 candidates are, this is the article that was in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel that I printed off for you. If a candidate reaches out to us, we will provide that venue given that we have the space available as well as the time. And so that's what we're doing. This is in no way, shape, or form an endorsement of a candidate. This is in no way, shape, or form to sway you one way or the other. It is purely information driven. And so again, that is why Alexander Kostel will be joining us tomorrow in the classroom beginning at 1 o'clock. And then another alderman reached out to us as well, Nas Musa. And so he will be joining us in the same type of venue in the classroom, I believe on Tuesday at 10. So again, if the alderman candidates are reaching out to us, again, we will provide that venue for them, given the impact that they may have on us, given the 3rd district. So that was the decision and reason behind why the aldermen are having the opportunity to join us. It's up to you if you want to go and talk to them. It is up to you whether you support them or not, or what candidate. If you have a candidate that you're really supporting, and you reach out and say, hey, reach out to East Castle Place, again, given how the email communication goes, and they take the proper channels in getting administrative approval from East Castle administration, we'll provide the same venue for the candidates. So again, this is something that I wanted to make sure you were informed about, given the location and given the impact potentially to our community, and just I know that we worked a lot with former Alderman Brostoff as well. So that's the reason behind it. So just wanted to address that and also ask if there was any questions or concerns. Also, I know the legislative board is back up. Thank you, Kathy, for that. That's not the normal legislative board. I just made that up. So more of it for information regarding voting and processes and candidates. So that's what I meant. So
Where's the classroom?
so great question, Jim. The classroom where is it? It was Jim's question. It's directly above Lila on the 2nd floor. So if you know where the boardroom is or Mike's office, if you know where Mike Reaver's office is out of, it's right across from Mike. If you go take C elevator to 2 or D elevator to 2, follow that and you'll see some signage that I have to fix yet, that we're in the process of doing. It'll say Beauty and Barber Salon. You can stop by Mike, he'll get you trimmed up, but then go to the classroom across the way. So, all right. Any questions? All right. So, the next State of Castle is Thursday, February 27th. So, we will see all of you there. Obviously, we'll see all of you prior to that. I'm just looking at my phone to make sure I'm not missing anything in February. Evan gave you the updates. Any last questions, Sandra?
Are we considering my ping pong table?
So the question is, are we considering Sandra's ping pong table? Is Sandra considering putting a ping pong table in your apartment?
I won't be part of it, but we had one several years ago.
We did.
We took away when we did the new construction.
Mm-hmm.
And pool table was taken a nice spot. But I would guess that there are going to be empty rooms in the lower level. Once they clear out all of that stuff that's in the garage area. Or we can find another spot, I don't know where.
Yeah.
But we must still have a ping pong table.
So the ping pong table, and so the question is about the ping pong table. Can we get a ping pong table? Quick show of hands, how many of you would play ping pong on a regular basis? That's fair enough to explore. The ping pong table was broken, so we pitched it. So we'll have to get a ping pong table. The bigger question is, to your point, Sandra, is where? And so there was questions about cleaning out areas and where could it go. I will look around. If you also have an idea of where it could go, I do not want to put a ping pong table on top of the pool table. I was going to say that would not be something. underneath it. We have one for underneath it. But again, maybe we can find a space. I'll talk to our director team. If you have an idea of where you think a ping pong table might fit, again, you got to think, yay big. Got to have some space on the side. Really good side to side.
Not too big.
Not too
Otherwise
big.
you're chasing the ball.
Oh, you're chasing the ball. So we'll work through that. We'll workshop that. So, all right. Any other questions?
I do have a question.
Yes.
We've been difficult to get an appointment with the hairdresser and have them show up. And I went to get my hair cut the first time, and this lady over on Downer said, I would like to come over there and cut hair. She said, I like elderly people. And she would like to do that.
So the question is regarding the salon services in PS Salon, and at times the lack of services. And I have an extensive email from PS Salon that they sent me yesterday to set up a meeting with them to discuss salon services going forward and how that's going to look, because our expectations are not being met, primarily because, again, staffing. They called out on Monday or Tuesday, one day this week because it was too cold. I can understand that. They've had some illnesses. They're one or two individuals. I've also had conversations with the Catholic Home because they have the same provider and some of the similar issues. And so Dave Fulcher, the CEO over there, and I kind of chatted and seen if we can put our heads together to see how we can better partner potentially for salon services. The question about a salon provider coming into East Castle Place. I know that there was actually another resident that gave me a name. And when I tell them we have PS Salon and talk to PS Salon, they essentially want to stay as an independent contractor. PS Salon is the licensee, because our salons are licensed by the state of Wisconsin, are the licensee for the two salons, so they cannot allow or have independent contractors come into our salons because of the license. Now that's where, again, what would it take for East Castle Place to potentially be a licensee, something that I've been pretty firm on, that I don't want to be a salon operator, but at the same time, I want to make sure the salon operates for you. And so that's where it's starting to become a question is this going to be something that East Castle Place takes on, or is it going to be something that PS Salon can continue to step up and provide the services on a more consistent basis? Because the resident that I talked to actually mentioned that her hairstylist, along with, as she said, 6 other residents that go to her, is retiring in May. And so she said, you're going to get a lot more business. And I said, okay, we need to let PS Salon know that, because I think there's a lot more business to be had. Because when it's -5 out, it would be nice not to have to travel outside to get your hair done. At the same time, I also know that there's the question of, well, I've had to go outside because I've tried it before and it didn't work, or I didn't have a good experience, so I don't want to deal with it. And I can understand that as well. So that's really where I want to continue to work towards getting the salon services to a place where you can have confidence in them, and that it truly is something that you want to enjoy. The bigger question is how I get to become a salon operator, which is something I don't necessarily want to do. Yes, Ann.
I was just wondering too, for the manicure and pedicure service. It seems like, I mean, you have the choice of 3 colors, I mean, and women want to have.
Gotta have choices.
You have to have choices. And then, I'm not that familiar with the massage. Does PS Salons do the massage too?
So the first question is about manicures, pedicures. Again, this is where I really get out of my league, because I don't worry about that piece. However, my wife does, so she'd be better to talk about that, or any of the ladies sitting over there, probably. So the first one is, I can provide that feedback. We should be able to get more than 3 colors. I mean, again, is it red, yellow, and blue? Is it the primaries? But as far as the massage go, no. Those are independent contractors. That is not in the PS Salon purview. So actually, East Castle holds that the massage license. So those are independent contractors.
So we would get, so if somebody wanted to provide services
they would
another
come.
day of the week,
Yep, they would come talk to Teresa or myself because they would have to sign off on the PSP agreement, the personal service provider agreement, because again, we want to make sure that they have the appropriate licensure, insurance, they aren't criminal, they aren't going to take, they're not on a registry that is excluded. Again, I know it's independent, but I also need to protect you to a degree and protect the business. So that's where, again, we have our form. We're happy to fill that out, and then we can work through that. I know, I think Joanne Peter actually gave me a card of a masseuse that I'm reaching out to. So, Dave?
We could do all that in a wood shop.
Do you have more than 3 colors of paint down there, Dave? So, Dave's just saying stop on down to the wood shop. We provide some services down there. I think between Mike and Dave, we're in good hands. So,
No extra charge for everything.
all right. Any other questions?
So what's the difference between independent contractor and a masseuse versus a hairdresser?
License. I hold the license.
So,
I would have to hold a salon license. And the independent contractors for massages seem to be much more reliable and really work independently with the residents, as opposed to the salon services that are much more involved.
is there another company that you could work with?
The question is about is there another company? Yes, and that's why we're back with PS Salon, because we've gone down that road. So PS Salon is the largest provider for senior living communities in the nation. They are a national group, so it does give them some breadth of regional beauticians and things of that nature. But I think there's clearly from conversation, if you're not heading down to Dave's hair cutting and salon, we need to do some work. So we will have an update for you next time. All right. Any other questions? All right, with that, I kept you 10 minutes over, so thank you all for sticking it out, and stay warm, stay healthy, wash your hands. If you're not feeling well, stay in your homes. We will come to you for services if you need them. All right, take care, everyone.